Are you ready to transform your summer into an epic splash-tastic adventure? Say goodbye to wasteful, single-use water balloons and hello to the ultimate in reusable, eco-friendly fun with reusable water balloons. Check out the link in the video description to get yours on Amazon today.
There's the sound of heavy breathing and branches snapping underfoot. And then he emerges from the thicket, his head dripping with sweat. Christopher Pennington, a former British military serviceman, is now leading the search in Tenerife for missing teenager Jay Slater. When the Spanish police announced a week ago that they were ending their unfruitful search for Jay, Chris was left in disbelief. A 19-year-old boy had gone missing, his family were devastated and the world wanted answers. And yet, the local authorities had decided, after less than 2 weeks, to throw in the towel. Fascinated with the case to the point of obsession, Chris began to conduct his own search. Just days after the official mission was called off, he found fresh evidence. A pair of black sunglasses, with one lens punched out, lying in the undergrowth close to where Jay's mobile phone was last recorded. The discovery made news around the world and propelled Chris overnight into becoming an online celebrity who now boasts more than 30,000 followers on TikTok and has since had to close his account to stop floods of messages from amateur sleuths. For the first time this weekend, Chris exclusively allowed the mail to join him on his latest foray into the rugged and rough terrain around the Parque Rural de Teno, on which the hunt for clues about Jay's disappearance has centered. This area has not been searched properly, he says, defiantly. You can tell, the authorities have stuck to the paths because they've assumed Jay did too. Chris looks me straight in the eyes, but that's not how you conduct a thorough search. Chris moved to Tenerife in March 2006. I'd already been visiting frequently because my father moved out here in 2003, taking early retirement, he explained. And I just fell in love with the place. Enamored with the sunny climes, relaxed pace of life and breadth of opportunities, Chris settled into life as a British expat on this idyllic Spanish island. Although he is now a respected property developer, in his previous life Chris had served as a reservist in the British Army. Indeed, the skills he acquired have formed the bedrock of his approach to the ongoing search. My squadron worked in combined vehicle reconnaissance, tracked, or CVR-T, he says, which involves armored vehicles on scouting and combat missions or logistics moving across difficult terrain. We were past intelligence with which we drafted a strategy, cross-referenced all the information and then carefully selected our targets. But surely, on a case with this level of international interest, it has been hard to maintain the laser-like focus he was used to in the military. You've got to close the noise out, he continues. Focus on the facts. It doesn't help to start entertaining conspiracy theories, that just takes your eye off the ball. Indeed, Chris's experience is perfectly suited to a case like this. His methodical approach is admirable. We know that Jay left the Papagayo nightclub at roughly 5:30 a.m. and was driven by convicted drug boss Ayub Qasim and another unknown man 25 miles to an Airbnb outside the village of Masca, which he left the following morning before disappearing. It was revealed yesterday by TV detective Mark Williams-Thomas, who has been helping the Slater family find Jay, that Qasim was also the mystery man known as Johnny Vegas, a nickname that, until this revelation, had been attributed to a mystery second man staying with Qasim. The true identity of this other individual remains unknown. In a video shared on X, Williams-Thomas said, "In the last 24 hours I have spoken in detail with Ayub Qasim, who is also known as Johnny Vegas. He said he was on the Z coastal strip. Jay wanted to carry on partying and he said he had nowhere to stay, so he said he could come back to his place. In the car, they played music and chatted before stopping to get a drink at a cafe just prior to entering the mountains. Qasim was driving, his friend was in the passenger seat, and Jay was in the back. To understand how Jay must have felt as he headed into the mountains, Chris decided to follow his route at exactly the same time of day. So, at 5:30 a.m. on Saturday, he drove the treacherous, winding road north from near the Papagayo nightclub to the Casa Abuelatina Airbnb in Masca. I didn't go more than 15 kilometers an hour, Chris says. Because of the hairpin turns, you've essentially